Welcome in, everyone. Refugees Podcast. Ted here, John here. Actual live reaction. Well, not live reaction. We're not live streaming any of this. This is all going to be
real-time reaction.
Real-time reaction. We don't have time to think about it. We don't have time to sleep on it. We don't have time to go back watch highlights. We don't have time to do any of that.
We don't have time. We just don't have the time. We don't have it.
Well, this is the vein of the show. But basically, if you are listening on our Patreon, congrats. You got this early. If you are listening to this
early.
If you got
early.
If you're listening on Tuesday, well, you could be a Patreon, patreon.com/RFKR.
This is the way we should do it, by the way, Ted. I'm now thinking of it. This is the way we should have always done it, and not listen, we love you live stream participator viewers, all
yes, we do.
10 of you. We love you very, very much. But this makes much more sense. The game is much more fresh in my brain than it is 2 days later. I gotta say, it's just true. It is the case.
I feel like I need sometimes to marinate,
digest.
Maybe go back and watch some highlights, whether some, I always feel like,
well, there weren't a lot of those, so we can dispatch with that need.
There were some interesting
sure.
waves. But yeah, John, how are you doing, my friend? I hope your weekend is going well. I don't have to ask you how your weekend is because it's
halfway. Well, it's halfway done. We still,
yes.
Tomorrow could be anything. But today I went to my nephew's birthday party, and I told my daughter before we went there that she could go swim. And then we changed our mind, and she had to deal with like the world being unfair to her. I think maybe for the first time. It feels like maybe for the first time. It did not go well. It took quite some time to adjust to that idea. What did you do today? Anything good?
I haven't. I basically stayed at the house. I actually cleaned and made my
homeowner life. That sounds good.
Made my house at night, but I had a very busy week and with work and also driving to Raleigh to go to a Ghost concert. If there are any.
Oh, wow. Metalhead Ted. Didn't know.
Apparently, so this was for my my niece, who apparently she is apparently really into Ghost. My wife is now getting into the band as well, apparently. So went to that. So interesting band, a lot of fun. A lot of fun that.
That's a very fresh looking 96, by the way. Is that a reprint or is that an original one?
This is the retros, the little like the
I was like, that looks extremely not frayed. Mine looks like it has been through a wood chipper, so that looks good.
Yeah, it looks good. The whatever was it, I guess Honduran, El Salvadorian eBay.
I love it.
eBay level store I got it from did a pretty good job considering it's not official Adidas. So yeah, it's the only kit like I feel like real passion wearing. Like everything else just kind of feels like I wore the Nahar jersey while watching Nashville, which was in hindsight a mistake.
Right? Maybe you did. This is your fault, actually, if you think about it.
Oh, let's get into it. Let's talk about DC United, though.
Let's
talk about the current iteration of DC United, which is not great. I don't know, man. It just feels like every game we're just kind of going through the motions.
Yeah. I mean, that's what Greg Roach said on his thing is like, I'm not going to talk about the games anymore because who cares? Yeah. So he just like doing macro picture stuff. I'm kind of jealous of him for that. Yeah, he doesn't have a weekly podcast, so we have to.
He just can do it whenever. He's Greg Roach. He can just do it whenever he can have Mark Machado on to talk about the salary cap. I listen to that podcast and be like, all right, here's the podcast where I'm going to feel hopeful about the future. Like they're going to have roster space and all this stuff. And boy, did that not happen.
It's like we paid off our credit cards, but we're still poor at the end of the day. Like, well, at least we're not in debt anymore, but we also do not have any money. We are poor.
We gotta wait. We gotta wait for the infusion of GAM. Yeah, man. I mean, the positive news is that David Schnegg apparently now has a green card. Will not count as international, so that opens up an international slot. I think that gives them 2 open international slots. So they have an open U22 slot. They have an open DP slot. I think that is the ultimate game right now. I feel like for this team is like getting just some sort of new play. Like I feel like we have the entire roster all the way down. Maybe Gavin Turner, who, by the way, thanks to the delay, I was able to watch a little bit from Chattanooga. He looks pretty good. 7.3 according to FootMob last time. We buried the lead on his goal last week because it was the goal he scored for Chattanooga, absolute banger. Go look it up. Go watch it. It was up for goal of the week on MLS Next Pro and certainly worth it. Yeah. Other than that, like I feel like every player is just like the same. It's samesies. It's like Benteke, great in the air, will win balls.
He looked to me very, very rusty, very, very not connected with his midfield. And typically, being good in the air for him has always meant he's been able to bring it down and then play it off to a player who could then link back up with him. But numerous in his 60-something minutes, I saw a lot of that not happening. And I don't know if that's down to other players or down to him. But I think he is an option for next year, right? Club option.
Mm-hmm.
Wouldn't pick it up. I think a team needs too much. The team needs too much other stuff.
Well, and I think the big question is he goes and gets a goal, and he subbed out, I think, 70th minute or so. Yeah, 60 something. So, I mean, he's on a minutes restriction. You have a DP player, you expect them to play 90 minutes. I know we've been Wednesday, Saturday, Wednesday. I'll be curious to see if he goes a full 90 against Austin. It's been very.
Listen, you got to keep him fresh for the games that matter, which are other ones, I guess.
And additionally, he did not play at all on Wednesday, so he's literally had a week break. It's unconscionable to me if you are a team that is trying to say that you're making a run for the playoffs, and then your only designated player cannot go a full 90 after a week break. He gets the goal. It's a classic Benteke style goal.
Kai Rolls made the play that Kai Rolls stepped up to make the play. What looked like, yet another squandered in possession in the attacking third situation. But Kai Rolls comes up, stabs at it, gets the ball over to, I
tried to look up. Was it Dobson or was it Herrera? Was it one of the two?
Dotson got the assist. Dotson got the assist. I think Herrera crossed the ball and it gets blocked out. And then Dotson gets another opportunity, crosses it in. That cross also got deflected. If it didn't get deflected, it would not have gotten to Benteke. It would have been over him and to the right. Fortuitous. I mean, we'll take it. We'll take any rub of the green we can get. That was after they already scored the penalty, right? Yes. Just the brainless poor. Who was it? Mike Grella was on the announcer, right?
Yes, I believe so. Right?
He was like, "That is the worst defending I have ever seen, or the laziest defending I've ever seen," and it was. Bartlett just, instead of moving his body, juts out the leg, and he wasn't. The Gazdag is not like the fox in the box, squirrely kind of guy that you're really concerned about dribbling the ball, and he just lazily put a leg out there, and Gazdag, and he called it soft too. He was complaining to the ref. It's like, "Oh, you died. That was soft." My brother. No, it was not soft. It was dumb.
It's a tough time. I really have a tough time being super critical of this team defensively. Bartlett also goes out and makes, I think, a couple key blocks, key tackles. He does things out there. He's being asked, the entire defensive line in DC United season is being asked to do this. I would say 3 to 4 or 5 times too many for a team. If they had an effectual attack, if they had an attack where they could keep the ball away from the defensive third, in the attacking third, they could develop chances, they could control the game. I think they would honestly, the Bartlett and Rawls and the entire defensive line is being dragged down by this team's ineffectual attack. And I will defend that. I will defend that until.
Was Bartlett the one that passed the ball to Enow that almost caused a goal after?
I'm sorry, that's on
Enow?
Yeah, I don't know if it's on Enow. I don't know if it's on. I think it's a mistake on both parts. But yeah, I don't know if no, that was Barraza. I think that made that pass, or
Barraza passed it to Bartlett. Bartlett passed it to Enow, and then also in the first minute of the game, Bartlett almost back passes the ball into trouble, and then Barraza has to clear it out for a corner right away. So he did some. The problem is, it's just like a goalkeeper. You could do 6 things well, and if you do one thing that turns to a goal, you suck. You blew it.
And that's my point. I mean, this team just looks so ineffectual going forward. They were ineffectual in that entire first half. There was nothing they were doing to develop any sort of attack. XG? Probably Benteke, like take out the Benteke chance or whatever, minus that. You can minus the PK, the penalty, from that. But and that's kind of
0.4 the whole game.
Yeah,
to 3.1 for Columbus.
So hey, plus 1 point something.
There you go. That's right.
For Barraza, who had some really, I mean, just a great save on that chance that could have really buried this team. He had another, I think, exceptionally strong game today, just out there making saves.
He's another guy whose stats are going to make him look like a clown for whoever signs him next. But he performed. Anybody that comes here, woe be to your statistics and expected saves or whatever the expected goalie stat is, because we're not going to help you. It's just we're not going to. And offensively, like, it's just like you said, toothless, not inventive in any kind of way.
Peglo had a poor game. Pirani had a poor game. As soon as I've been slacking on my fantasy. He is on my sort of custom made MLS draft league fantasy, and I was like, oh, I can set my lineup. Pirani, he's had a good streak. I'm going to move him from the subs bench to the starting bench. And as soon as I did that, he goes and has a typical kind of Pirani performance.
Mm-hmm. This was the normal when Pirani starts kind of game that you'd get out of him.
Yeah. Yeah. Again, I think a lot of people point to like the defense. And my point is, until the attack is better, I really don't see the point. What this defense is paid. And I think if you listen to the podcast,
that was my favorite part of the podcast, actually.
Yeah.
When they broke down the center back.
Rawls is on 300 some thousand, Tubbs is on 100 some thousand. Maybe you look at Bartlett at 500 some thousand. He might be maybe a little overpaid, but in all actuality, I don't think that's much of an overpay, to be honest. I look at that and I'm like, you know what? I don't really think the defense is that poor. And I think if this team could figure out ways to half the number of times when they're asked to defend in games, I think they would turn out to be pretty decent. Really, until that is, I'm not in favor of any sort of changes there. I want to see this team. This team needs another option. They need a designated player. That was the more depressing part of the podcast when they were like, I don't know if they're going to sign anybody. And I'm like, what do you mean? Like, this is what we've all been. I mean, this is why you went and didn't sign anybody, or you were trying to sign Pogba. I get it, but you didn't go and get anybody because the idea is that you're more open to have options to go and find players.
This is where the Instagram commenters and Facebook commenters that are doomers and have been for 10 years are right. Because if they give us like, listen, next window, not this window, in the winter we'll do it. Then you know what? Burn it down, baby. Like, I was thinking this, I was talking to my friend during the game, and she was just like, I can't with this team anymore. And I was like, maybe what we need to do is figure out if we can make DC United an expansion team. Like, we just get rid of all our players, and they give us all of the like funny monies to be able to acquire stuff, and then we just start over again. We just start from scratch. We do the Chapecoense thing, but no one has to be in a plane crash. We'll just be like, we're just gonna start over again, guys. We have to start over. I can't tell you why. It doesn't matter. We're just gonna new players.
Do a dispersal draft. Contract dispersal draft.
Yes, I think this is the way we should start. Listen, the rest of the fan base can say levying out. I think that's fine. And I think that this show is going to be, what if we could have an entirely new team? What if we dispersed all of these players and started over again?
I don't, again, I've said for a while, everybody's telling me like there's hope, there's no hope, things are dire. And I'm like, I don't blame you at this point. I mean, you have a new GM come in and people say, we've been waiting for 10 years. Why do we need to wait longer? Like, why are we so certain things will get better? And I say, I don't know if things are going to get better.
I can't tell you.
But yeah, I don't know. I am somewhat confident that there have to be some new players coming in. There has to be some sort of player out there. Rennie Waller is the coach. One question I thought about asking to Kevin, and it was like, are you 100% certain you're going to be the manager next week? I think that would still be a week. So maybe it's a little, I don't know how quickly maybe they agreed to a contract versus the announcement. They get the paperwork in, like presumably if they're smart, they have all that ready to go. So I'll be curious to see. I think that would be the one interesting thing is, what happens once Rennie Waller is in the role and actually is the full-time manager for this team.
Yeah, man. I kind of pity him a little bit coming into this particular locker room and state of this team. Because, what are you going to say when you get here? Like the quote was like, I'm here to return this team to glory, and it's going to take a little time, and we're going to get there. Yeah, but right now, these are the guys you got. I wonder if it's like, it's like I've been watching MLS Next Pro while I've been over in Switzerland, and I think we need to recall Gavin Turner right now. I'm going to install him as my box-to-box 8, and now we're going to build the team around it.
Might be a good idea, man. I've been kind of surprised, man. Gavin Turner arrived at Chattanooga. He's listed as a defensive midfielder according to FootMob. He does not play that way. He is playing he has so much freedom just to kind of roam around the field, find the game. His ability to find space, it was really good in sort of the 20-30 minutes I watched. I might find myself tuning in a little more to Chattanooga. Karamoko not having the same success over at Loudoun. So
I'd say we just cut that one loose. I think that's not going to be a concern. But yeah, I mean, why not watch Chattanooga right now on the weekends if they're at the same time? By the way, do you know what our cross completion percentage was in the game?
10%.
Would it surprise you to know it was 0%?
So wait, so I guess the goal to Benteke doesn't count because it took a deflection. So okay,
0. Not great,
not
Bob.
great.
Well,
yeah,
and also Aaron Herrera red card, so that's fun. That's good for next week. Although he's kind of a crap game, so he looked like he wanted another week off.
Yeah, man, and I hear people saying, "Oh, he's playing on the right side." I'm like, well, he's asked to play like a right side, and I asked, the one sort of defensive. I guess I'm looking at these games. I'm like, what is unique? What are they trying to do different tactically in this game? I will give Kevin some credit. I think he is trying to see, is there, worst case scenario, I'm back running the academy here in a couple weeks. So
I have a job.
why not just try some different things? I think we saw some, I don't want to say these are things that are going to fix the team. They're not, but I think there's some unique things to think about as kind of a base to start to build. Last on Wednesday, they took out Baji. Baji didn't have a great game. He's basically been, pretty much ineffective. And they basically played Randall Leao, Gabriel Pirani, and Joao Pedro as kind of a very, very poor man's Liverpool is how I'm going to describe this. Like, if you watch Liverpool, they do not play with sort of like an out and out goal scorer. They play sort of three very high level attackers: Mohamed Salah, Diogo Jota, rest in peace. Maybe David, Nunes slights in there. And then they have Luis Diaz. And those are players that are not like out and out like attacking strikers. They're all a lot of sort of attacking midfielders, sort of second forward type players. And they sort of just rely on those combinations to push the ball forward. And we saw that I saw some like somewhat bright signs. Charlotte did come in and sub a bunch of players in, and that kind of died a little quickly. But, there were some unique combinations. And I think, I think if you're the new coach coming in and you see that type of scenario, I'm just like, look, when we have Benteke out there, obviously he's going to be out there. Like he does so much of that work at such a very high level too. Like he can kind of get away with some of that stuff, and you still see some of that with him. But when he's not there, I don't think the solution is just throw Baji out there and try to do the same stuff with Baji, because I just don't think it's going to work. Why not bring in Joao Pedro, Pirani, who do pretty well.
Back to the false nine, baby.
Who do pretty well in just short pass situations, quick movements, drawing players in, creating space. I don't think it would help. I think Pedro was off. Pirani didn't have a good game. I don't know if Leao would come in and really make that much of a difference, but I don't know. It was a different look. I'm kind of all for something different right now, because what they're doing now, and I was a little disappointed. I would have liked to have seen Kevin say, well, let's try what we tried and let's change it up. Like, let's go to something maybe they're not expecting. Rather than throwing Baji out there for Benteke, what if we threw Leal out there for Benteke? What if we tried to shift Pirani up? What if we tried to play, a little bit of a different style of game? I would have liked to seen that, rather than just saying, hey, let's just go to Baji and go do Benteke light. Very, very light type things. So, and then there was this game with Derek Dotson kind of slotting up a little higher. I think he brought a little bit of pace out there. I think the idea was to kind of like try to give Herrera some openings. I think it had the downside of making this team very, very, if you looked at the halftime stat where it was like, where is DC's attacks coming from? It was all up the right side. And I think Columbus was doing that on purpose, because they're like, well, we know Derek Dotson's not the most elite player. Let's keep Schnegg. Let's keep Peglo off the ball. And so DC hit the right side a lot, and it didn't really work in that first half.
I'm looking again at the highlight of the goal, Lapalion's goal. Dotson is switched off all the way, but Enau's shitty clearance is really the culprit there. The old where do you clear it? Certainly not directly at the top of the 18. That's not where it is, unfortunately. But yeah, man, this is a bit of a bummer to be down once again. Your right back or attacking center back, or wherever you have him placed at any given moment, is not great against Austin. I will say, in the wooden spoon race, Montreal also lost today, so we don't need to worry. And before that would have been kind of a joke. That would have been a joke kind of before, but we're only 4 points north of them, so it's no longer a joke. We do have to be eyes on the prize. Make sure we don't have any more daylight, because you no longer get a really nice, you don't get a lot of sympathy dollars anymore. You used to get a lot of money for sucking in MLS. That used to be like the one thing about finishing last. Garber would send you a hot envelope and you'd get the first round pick and you get a bunch of money for sucking. But now I don't think you do anymore. I think that's kind of phased out.
At this point, this team is bad. They're stale until there is some injection of talent, something new, something different that comes in that maybe you can get. Like, honestly, like, when Alan Mackay talked about the press conference, like, oh, we're trying to salvage part of the season. In actuality, I'm like, well, what will salvage the season? Because honestly, it's looking like, unless something drastically changes, it's looking like, another year, no playoffs. And I think the only thing you have is that you bring in a designated player and you have a Messi like impact to start the year, where maybe if a bunch of things go right at the end of the decision day, you make the playoffs. Of course, none of that happens. You miss the playoffs, but you have something of a base to build on. And that's really the only goal this team has right now. I really hope there's a DP coming.
This show is going to get really, really dark in August and September.
Oh my
super
gosh.
dark.
Oh my
super
gosh.
dark. The show will be 10 minutes long. and it will be like throat singing. It'll just be like, it'll be really bad. So sign a player. Don't make us do that. Gavin Turner, by the way, played 90 minutes.
No goals,
Looks
no
like
assists tonight,
no
but
goals, no assists, but still getting the minutes. That was the whole point.
yeah. That game was free on YouTube, by the way. It was, you did not, you could, I looked for it on Apple and it wasn't there. Apparently you have to go to YouTube to watch it.
Did he take a penalty? Why did this go to penalties? What the hell?
It's the weird rules that MLS Next Pro has. A game that ends in a tie, it goes straight to PKs for like the additional point.
Huh. Interesting. Did he take one? It looks like he did not take one. Nope, he didn't take one.
Okay.
Interesting.
But yeah, man, I guess nothing else really to break down from this game.
Let's talk about the big loss that's coming to the DC United beat.
Yeah, no kidding. Stephen Goff posting on LinkedIn, essentially saying that he has taken a buyout at the Washington Post. We know what's been going on at the Washington Post. Jeff Bezos now owns it. There's been a lot of changeover. You know, Goff is somebody, if you sort of watch, he never sort of does it publicly, but they're very silent things to say kind of where he stands on the political spectrum. So I'm willing to bet a lot of the stuff he's seen at the Post he's not happy about. But he's been a soldier, and he basically opted to take a buyout. I thought it was more like of a retirement type message initially, and so I think my post was like, "Oh, congrats to him on a legendary run." Then I kind of read it, I'm like, "No, this wasn't like." I think he wanted to at least get through the World Cup, and I think maybe situations at the Post are not great. So he will be no longer covering the team on July 31st. I was in the press conference, by the way. It was me and him for the majority, and then I believe Dennis Gomez then popped in.
The new standard bearer for the DC United media is Ted Meyer, showing up at these press conferences. So make sure you're following him on all of your socials.
I mean, a massive loss. And I think Jason Davis had the best point where he was kind of there sort of lending credibility to the team that they really haven't deserved. And it's a very fair statement. Yeah, man, it's a big loss. It's a big loss for soccer coverage in the DC area, for soccer coverage nationally. I mean, I think Stephen Goff has, you know, his fair share of like detractors. I think a lot of DC fans think he's like just a mouthpiece for the team. I always say that I think he's diplomatic, and his role is not to be a commentator. His role is to
sticks a knife in much more in the last couple of years than he used to. And I think the mouthpiece thing died when the GM changed, and when they had a relationship. There was certainly he got the news before Julian Gressel got the news. Like things those are the old days, and you know that's fine. That's his job, is to get the news first. So whatever. But this club now will have, pending the Post decision, whether or not they're going to put Thomas Floyd or somebody else on this. You know, as far as media coverage and an audience and size, it's slim pickings. Yeah. I was trying to think of the outlets. Probably, I don't know. Jose Mania at WTOP probably has the biggest listenership, but I don't know that he's writing. Sometimes he gets some stuff on the air for sound. It's just, there should be more, but also they don't deserve more. So it's actually seems kind of right. This kind of seems like the natural devolution of what should have happened. A lot of teams don't have beats that from like a major paper. That's not uncommon in MLS.
Like, from what I understand, like Colorado, there's like nobody covering that team. Dallas, I mean, there's a lot of great, and this is not to discount, a lot of great people cover a lot of these teams. A lot of them are like us.
They're like us that are,
you know, and you know, we do the pregame press conferences. I would love to join those. My job situation is basically to the where I can't do that anymore. I used to be able to. I used to have a lot like more free time where I could, you know, step away for an hour. If my job is listening, no, I didn't. But there were times I could take a lunch break. I could take a break. I can't do that anymore. My job, I became too important at where I work, and I've got meetings back to back to back to back, and I just can't do it anymore. So
classic mistake.
Exactly. So, you know, and Stephen Goff is someone who's paid to cover the team. I would love if somebody wants to go out and offer me what I'm making currently at my job and pay me to cover DC United. I will take that in a heartbeat. Absolutely. But I don't think anybody's going to do that. So it is what it is. Yeah, man, it's really tough. It's really tough. I've you know, goodness gracious, like I feel like I've known Stephen Goff longer. Like he's been the little reporter covering this team my whole life, which is crazy to think about. He certainly has not been. I think what's interesting about him, he has not been like, you talk about some of the other reporters that have made stories that have like broken headlines. Like even you talk about Pablo Maurer and sort of his work. Very different. He's just kind of done the job of sort of recovering the team. I think he's done a great job in certain things about stepping out, particularly with the labor issues regarding MLS. He's done some great work on that, and really just been a soldier in kind of covering this team that really has fallen off in so many ways. I
And
don't know, man.
he's good for a human interest angle. There's haven't been any interesting players really. The Connor Antley story sticks out because it's the only one in the last
Jordan
couple
Farr
of
this
years
year.
really. Jordan Farr. So those two. I can't think of any other ones.
Yeah, he's been really good at that type of stuff, sort of around the team. Man, I'll be curious to see what kind of comes out and where he goes in the future. It sounds like he wants to still continue writing. There's a new sort of media empire that's sort of formed out of a lot of the people that have left MLS. I don't know. Maybe we see Stephen Goff step out there and do that.
Or he gets a Substack and then we start having him on the show to once he has to like sell subs, he might be like, "Hey guys, how you doing?"
But congrats. I mean, honestly, congrats to him. 40-year run, unbelievable over at the Post. I hope the Post. I'll be curious to see where the Post goes. I mean, I think there will still be some United coverage. I don't know what it's going to look like. I don't think it's going to be. You get some new guy in there. I don't know if they're going to have the budget. Like Stephen Goff had the tenure where he could say, "I'm flying to Columbus." He was not in Columbus, by the way, for this game. And that's very strange. He usually does sort of make the trip out to these games. So there's definitely been a change. He was literally sitting in the press conference, sitting in the Zoom room, just like me, just like the schmuck I am. So
they cut his credit card for travel when he announced that he was leaving. They probably were like, "You're good. We're gonna take that company card back from you." But yeah, good luck to him going forward. I hope he doesn't. I'm sure he's not done. He'll do something to land on his feet. I hope. The problem is, I bet that it will not be doing DC United stuff.
yeah,
Because I'm going to tell you, the interest is not there, guys. I love all of you listening to this right now. I love you a lot. I'd love you a lot if there were 50 for every one of you. Then I think that would change the numbers for everybody. But it's the sickos have diminished. So I think he probably will go cover the World Cup. I try to find more interesting stories nationwide because he's certainly got the connections and the experience and the gravitas. So good luck to him wherever he lands. And hopefully Thomas Floyd or somebody else gets to step in and start, having to witness this every time.
Yeah, and the message here is, Allie, the ball's in your court. The ball's in your court to make this team better.
Yeah, be interesting. Be good, be interesting.
This is like you are losing the sort of last sort of. I mean, and honestly, it feels like the end. Like it's like, what are the constants you had in this team? I guess Dave Johnson's still there on radio, and you get to hear him. I get to hear him on home games. But other than that, you really think about it, like Stephen Goff is kind of like the one sort of consistent voice when talking about the team. Like everything else about this team. This team had this legacy night. I went and bought the legacy shoes, which have been delayed shipping. I got really excited when they would arrive. We have the legacy kits. We have a legacy night coming up on July 26th. And that who knows about the timing, but that's like, that'll be the last game, I think. Am I right about that? Is my math
What's
right?
That?
Yeah, my math's right. 26 will be the last game that Stephen Goff covers. Legacy night will be the last game that Stephen Goff covers as a writer on the Post. And they're advertising this big whole legacy night. My message to this team is that they have to start building a legacy, building a new legacy. It really feels like I wish this team was better so I could feel more confident about going to buy, the legacy jersey they just launched, which looks great, by the way. It's a great jersey. Yeah, I might too. If my wife's listening, no, I'm not. No, I'm definitely not.
Listen, no one's listening. Don't worry about it, Ted. It's not a big deal. Neither your work nor your wife are listening.
She doesn't listen to the podcast, but she can listen to me maybe through the walls
here.
Whisper.
So. We do ASMR podcasts where we say all our secrets.
The jersey's $50. Don't worry about it.
Yeah. The year is $19.99. It's a $50 jersey. Question for you on that jersey: are you going to get a name? And if you do get a name, are you going to get a current player's name or an old name?
I'm not going to do an old name. I don't know. That just doesn't. That doesn't feel right.
I know it doesn't, but is there a player you want to have on your jersey?
I mean, honestly, it's Benteke. Who else are you gonna put on the kit? I mean, he's
nobody. It'd be him or nobody, and then I lean towards nobody because I don't know. I think you'll curse him even more if that happens. His legs will fall off.
I feel like he's the one player. Like I look at some of the other players I have on I have a kit. Like I have a Click jersey. I have a Paul Areola jersey. I have a Andy Nahar jersey. That one has a little bit more of a, there's a bit of a nostalgia feel to him. I feel like Benteke is either going to be here this year or off in Dubai or Saudi Arabia or somewhere like that. Those are the two options right now for him. So I feel like I could get him and feel comfortable knowing like, wow, there were still some good memories with him. There's still some good feels with Benteke as a player. And I don't have any right now worry about him popping on like another MLS team and like haunting us. So
you say that.
Unless he wants to take a TAM deal, man. I don't know if you'll see him in a DP deal. I could honestly see this team giving him another season, giving him another year. I could see it happening.
I could too, also, because then you have to find 2 DPs, and that's hard and expensive, and it's cheaper just to give the guy that you already have a little less money.
It seemed very early on there was a recognition. He was like, "It's going to be harder this year. We lost a lot of talent." Like
he said it, and we were like, that doesn't sound good.
Yeah.
But we spun it in our own heads because we have to live through this. But no, he called it. He was like, shit with, I don't know, man. We'll see how it goes.
I think it's going to depend purely on, I think he's kind of waiting to be like, what are you bringing in this summer? Like, what are you doing? If they bring in a player and they click instantly and there's like attack and there's like chances he's getting and goals he's scoring, if he gets like, I would say like 5 or 6 more goals to close out the year with this new DP that comes in, I could see them saying, all right, we'll roll the dice another year. We'll give it another shot. So,
yeah.
All right.
Well,
yeah. Balls in your court, Allie, man. Sign a player. Sign a player. Sign somebody, please. A rumor, anything. Not Griffin Yao. Oh man, DC. Somebody new, somebody unique, somebody for us to get excited about, please. Whatever money you were going to spend for Paul Pogba, go spend it on whatever like 25-year-old from Italy or Belgium or somewhere. All right, that's going to do it. Anything else you got, John, or close it out?
That's it, man. I think this is what happens, Larry, when you this is what happens. So it's 11:12 Eastern on a Saturday night. And so in case you're wondering why I swore twice, it's because it's after 11 o'clock. So it's like the kids are in bed, so you can swear. It's like, I think that's the rules. See you guys next week after a week of victory, after Legacy Night is over.
Yep. Vamos.